Hello, beautiful, incredible, powerful CEOs of the world. Welcome to another episode of the Startup Stories podcast, where new female business owners are heard, held, and served. We bring you relatable stories to help keep you sane, grounded, and growing as you deliver your purpose and grow your business. I am so thrilled to bring a new and dear friend to the show to you today. The beautiful Laura Cross is joining me from White Sands Premier Travel. Laura she's she'll describe herself to you, but she's such a dynamic and broad reaching woman who has overcome things that I hope most of us never, all of us never have to. So she is a Air Force veteran and now the dynamic owner of White Sands Premier Travel, but her unwavering dedication to promoting self-care and personal growth led her to founding White Sands Self-Care. And in here, she pours into mindfulness and well-being and holistic, full body healing, mind, body, spirit connection. She's created a TV show called Mindful Mondays with Laura Cross, and she's dedicated to creating vibrant self care communities that offer invaluable education, resources, connections, and opportunities for collaboration. So, this beautiful heart of service where she has a dream that she wants to share with the world, but that is also to be shared with others and bring us together into our better selves, our healthier selves. Her journey from veteran and blue collar worker to successful entrepreneur equips her with a unique understanding of the challenges faced by solopreneurs. Her role as a self care leader in this community allow her to empathize with the struggles that we face on the day to day, particularly if we get lost in growing our businesses and start to neglect ourselves. So, Laura, I'm just so thrilled and honored to have you here, and excited to host you this time around on the show.
Well, thank you, Mia, and thank you for the wonderful introduction. I'm happy to be here.
I'm so happy to have you here. So tell us in your own words, like, when I first met you, I was like, whoa, Air Force veteran to now like this really kind of hard skilled, almost masculine structure to this other beautiful, holistic, and probably more authentically aligned version of yourself. But did the White Sands dream exist, back in the day?
No, it did
No,
not.
it did
No,
not.
I was always a tomboy.
Uh-huh,
I followed my father pretty much in everything. Never planned on following him into the Air Force, but I did.
uh-huh.
So yeah, give me a car to work on, trees to climb, rocks to climb,
Right.
whatever. I did it. So most of my jobs that I held were always very male dominated. It was loading, offloading trucks, working overnights. Air Force, I wired F-15s and F-16s. So I was an aircraft electrician, and then they added environmental to that while I was in. So yeah, most of my most of
Yeah.
my jobs have been fairly backbreaking and male dominated, except for one when I worked in the bakery, which I never wanted to do.
Yeah, I guess that would be a bit of a
I've
shift.
learned to love women a lot more now, but
Mhm.
at that time it was just I'm like, ooh, overload.
Right,
Could I? I
right.
was not used to that because that was more women dominated than male. But I was just like, wow, yeah.
And so where then does something like what you do now start to grow as a mustard seed into like a fertile garden and a huge community of impact?
Well, what launched everything, I mean, while I was married to my late husband, we did every now and then we did those side jobs, like Amway or something else, because we thought, oh, this is cool. We could do like a side hustle kind of a deal. But when my husband was 36 years old on December 21st of 2004, we were laughing at lunch. He was dead by 10 o'clock that night.
Mhm.
It went that fast, and I had felt like I had lost everything. So it took me some time to regroup. And because of some things we had in place at that point in time, I didn't necessarily have to go to work anymore for anyone else.
Mhm.
But I've always loved travel.
Mhm.
And I started realizing the rat race that we had gotten ourselves stuck in,
Right.
that we stopped doing what we enjoyed doing
Mhm.
and we were doing what we were supposed to do.
Mhm.
And we didn't even have a honeymoon until after over 13 years of marriage, due to traveling and you spending your vacation time visiting one family or the
Yeah.
other. So
Yeah.
there was a lot of stuff, that we missed out on. And within 13 months of losing him, I had been in 4 different hospitals, 3 different funerals. I had had enough.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's got to be more to life than this.
Yeah.
And I always love to travel. Travel has a whole lot of healing benefits,
Hmm.
and just to escape, to reset your mind and everything and get out of that rat race. Because even if you take time off, but you're home,
Yeah.
normally when you're home, you still feel like, oh, I got to clean this, I got to do that. It's not the same. It's just not the same. And so I started with launching White Sands Premier Travel. I still am a travel agent. I still believe people should travel. There's so many good things about it. And I love helping people save money and showing them how it is more affordable than they think.
Hmm.
But when COVID came along and it scared the snot out of everybody,
Um,
I realized the reason I want them to go on vacation is to take better care of themselves. Hence, we morphed more over to self care. So I still do travel, but I wanted to keep the White Sands name. And that
yeah.
is not from White Sands, New Mexico, for those that are familiar with that. It is because when I started my business, I had to think of what I wanted to name it. My parents always cruised pretty much every year for their anniversary, and they loved the white sand beaches of St. Thomas. So it was a suggestion by my mom. I loved it, and I've kept it ever since.
That's bringing me tears. So
So,
endearing, like a way to honor them and their relationship. And, you just expressed what you and your first husband, your late husband, didn't do, and seeing your parents take time to do that. So it is a very holistic and well-fitting name to fully take care of you, the relationships that matter. And while we have this hunger for entrepreneurship and impact, it should not come at the expense of the things that are with us every day for hopefully a lifetime or whatever precious time we do have with those other people around
yeah.
us. Right?
And that's the thing, is making the most of the time that you do have, because we get so caught up in this rat race, hamster wheel, whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
And we always think that, oh my God, we can't stop doing this, or this will go away, or that'll go away. You know what? But when you have a tragedy that strikes,
Yeah,
you'll realize that none of that matters.
that's right.
It doesn't. It just all takes a back seat. And if there was problems before, guess what? They'll still be waiting for you. It doesn't, unless it's something that'll resolve itself, which there are some, but a lot of it, if there was an issue before, well, guess what? It'll still be waiting for you when you're done. But my parents didn't travel until after my father, had retired. They did little ones here and there, but
Sure.
they didn't really get to travel until my father had retired.
Mhm. And so
So
now we want to embed this lifestyle throughout, right? Rather than waiting for it to be something. So you've got the travel agency up and running and now branching out into the self-care space. And what transformation did that bring in you, leaving the Air Force, that very hard skilled, very masculine based energy? And what did you notice about yourself changing as you started to explore this new space?
it took me a lot of years. I
Mhm.
will tell you that. It took me a
Mm.
lot of years. I left the Air Force while my husband and I were still married.
Mhm.
And then so I was still picking up one job or another wherever we got stationed. Did
Okay.
we travel with the military? Yes.
Yeah.
Again, it's not the same as traveling on your
Mhm.
own terms and
Oh,
vacation. Um, and so it's been like December this year, it'll be 20 years since, he passed away. I hadn't really discovered the whole self-care and be more attached to a more feminine side until about 4 years ago. So
yeah.
it's been a journey. And 2 years ago, we moved out of Colorado. We moved to Missouri, and the environment change alone
Mhm.
for me. I was doing it for my fiance, but I found out I needed it myself. The
Mhm.
environment change, and it just opened up like all new doors, all new feelings. It's kind of hard to wrap your head around and explain. I wasn't in the same chaotic and crazy that, Colorado had been for me. It's
Okay.
peaceful out here. The people are different, the community's different. You can breathe, you can enjoy nature, and it's just a whole different level. It's
So like
very hard
this
to yeah, it's hard to put a
spiritual
words to it.
activation, right? From
Mhm.
Because when we're living in an environment for so long, we kind of become accustomed and unaware of how it's impacting us. So that shift can bring forth a new awakening. It sounds like you experienced some spiritual awakening at a deeper level that you weren't able to access until you changed your environment.
No, I spent a lot of years, following mentors and people because
Sure.
they always say if you want to learn to do something, you have a mentor, you follow them and you don't reinvent the wheel.
Hmm.
But you can get lost in that.
Yeah.
And you stop and you still lose yourself
Yeah.
because you still can't come across whether you want to use the word authentically or real. It doesn't necessarily feel like it fits until you figure out how to make it yourself,
Yeah.
if that makes sense,
It's
you know.
beautiful because, like, I mean, I just love the quote behind you here, "Be more than just the latest trend," right? And you are a living example, and you just described that perfectly, that we look for inspiration, but we still have to discern the right action to take in our version for our custom needs, you
Mhm.
know? And so I love the buffet example where there's a little bit of something for everyone, but you have to sample across and start to decide what's really gonna work for you, if it's even that buffet at all. We wanna go there. So,
Yeah.
um, moving states and starting so not having connections in Missouri or, like what.
Okay, so yeah, that was the first time I ever just felt like in my heart of hearts I had to go. It's the
Okay.
first time I moved without the military. I could
Uh-huh.
see the stress of it in
Uh,
Colorado weighing on my fiance. And I'm
uh,
like, I've already lost everything once. I'm not doing it again. I did have one small kind of connection. Well, maybe possibly two, but some people that we used to race with that we met out in Colorado were from Lebanon, Springfield area of Missouri.
yeah.
And they had moved back to Missouri in 2014. And then in Colorado, I had one of my friends that was doing flooring work on me. Well, he has family up in the Washington area of Missouri, and they had had it with Colorado. They're like, no,
Mm,
this is not going the way we want anymore. And so they had looked in Missouri, Kentucky, and Tennessee. And when I found out how much the properties, the homes and stuff are going for, and I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, that is extremely affordable.
mhm,
And compared to the way Colorado was going.
mhm.
So I got a hold of my friend because we're always on phone or Facebook. I said, hey, and found out some questions I had about how the job opportunities were because he's leaving a 24-year career. I work from home. I can work from anywhere.
Yeah.
And I said, just give me a realtor. Let's just start sending me stuff. So I, as my realtor in Colorado would tell you, I was highly motivated. I
Uh-huh.
decided on my birthday of December 5th of 2021 that we needed to move.
Yeah.
I packed for 60 days
Yeah.
straight, morning to night.
Getting ready.
We Yep, I had things packed up and nice enough for it to go on the market January 1st. That house sold within a day. We
Wow.
left January 1st to come to Missouri to find a place,
Wow.
and it already had showings in 7 degrees in a snowstorm. And it had a showing and it had
Oh
10
my God.
showings the next day. We still
Oh,
hadn't even found a place yet. We're already under contract. It
wow.
was the first time I had ever made a leap like that.
Wow.
And Monday, houses weren't good. Tuesday, houses weren't. Wednesday, I just woke up with a feeling that that was going to be the day. And that's when we had found this house.
Amazing.
And so, yeah, I mean, no, we didn't have jobs already locked in to move to.
Mhm,
He
mhm,
was leaving a 24-year career. I didn't have a house already locked in,
mhm.
but everything just went boom, 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 and fell in place.
So this is taking action ready or not, right? That's
Yeah.
the
It,
decision
it,
piece.
it was trusting my gut for
Yeah,
once and my intuition, which I didn't
yeah.
even realize I was necessarily doing at the
Mhm,
time.
mhm.
But it makes more sense to me now because I have others that, oh no, I have to go look. I have to find this. I have to find that first. And then they'll come back and try to pack up. And
Mhm,
I just knew we needed to go.
mhm.
And I moved.
There's a
So
like, a maybe a magnet turned on and following that, and it was rewarded and supported, and then that sounds like it cracked open, a continuation. So now settling into Missouri 3, 4 years ago, starting to acclimatize and find your way, and is this when, White Sands self-care started to emerge as well?
no, I had actually launched that in Colorado. Like I
Okay,
said, that was normally pretty much during the pandemic. So we moved
okay.
2 years ago.
Yeah,
And I will tell you too that that move was not, it was supported, but not totally supported. first I floored my fiance because we had talked about it over the last couple of
Sure.
vacations about moving here, moving there, moving somewhere.
Okay.
But deep down, he didn't think that I would ever leave my family or
Um,
sell my home that my late husband and I had built because I had owned that house over 16 years. I spent over 35 years in Colorado. That's where my family is.
yeah.
And I'm like, it's not about them. It's our time. It was our time to make changes and grow.
Mhm.
And we went. So, I had to be like, okay, so when we're around family, I need you to not say things like you're questionable because, otherwise they pick up on that. And they're like, well, if you're doing this and he doesn't want to go, he'll hate you. No, that we needed to go. And once we got here, we neither one of us had any regrets. I mean, he's from North Dakota, so it was like North Dakota for him, only warmer, a
Yep.
lot warmer,
Nice.
a
Nice.
lot warmer. So yeah,
That's wonderful. And so now you have evidence of trusting your intuition, awakening that, and what else has come with that? Because I know you've changed, from who you were to who you are now and how you're showing up. And are you feeling more and more like the Laura that maybe was always there,
that I didn't know was there.
that you didn't know was there? Where have you
Yeah,
been my whole life?
yeah, I know. And it's like, okay, yeah. And I continually change. I think everybody continually changes. I
Mhm.
think if you don't, you get stuck. But yeah, continually changing. And when I had the opportunity, when someone mentioned, because so I will tell you how the Mindful Mondays got started. I
Yeah,
have the White Sand Self Care Community Group.
yeah.
My whole intention, like you said in the beginning, is to build education, resources, connection, and collaboration
Mhm.
because I think we can do more together than by ourselves.
Yeah,
I think we have holistic and other options other than what's crammed at us from at least our society. I don't know about other people's society, but
yeah.
we won't get into all of that. But I'm just saying, people know what I'm talking about. And so I started interviewing people because I think when you hear from someone, you can resonate with them better and connect and know whether this person might truly be able to help you or not. I
Mhm.
just called them interviews. Everybody kept calling it podcasts. I'm like, no, it's
Sure.
just interviews, you
Yeah.
know? And then I had the option to do a TV show. And I thought, well, that's 56 minutes long. And I thought, well, okay.
Mhm.
So I went ahead and I did that. And I got to meet people from all over the world,
Yeah.
Canada, UK, Australia, Netherlands, Spain, all
Yeah.
over the United States,
Yeah.
you name it. And believe it or not, we do have a whole lot of like minded people out there. You
Mhm.
just kind of have to get out of your comfort zone or out of your area and find them.
Mhm.
And that's generally the highlight of my days now is
Yeah.
meeting with people and then getting their message and what they can do for people recorded and get them put up on the TV show.
Yeah. And to, grow your connection now globally and your impact because of that mutual vision, that mutual desire to serve others and make way for them to bring in more joy and well-being into their life, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really blown up too, which it was is fun to see.
Mhm.
We went through E3. We are a TV show. I know it's like a podcast style, but it is a TV show. So it's
Mhm.
on E360 TV. And when we started that, we had like their audience to plug into. So our
Mhm.
first month out, we had like 4,400 viewers.
Yeah,
Uh,
amazing.
we just jumped from over 7,004 viewers in April, and in May, we had over 7,742 viewers. So we jumped up
Wow.
over 700 new viewers.
Yeah.
That's monthly viewers
Yeah.
for May alone. And so that is just really exciting and cool to see. And the watch time is going up. So we know people are appreciating it. And I always say, even if it helps just one person out there, then I've done my job.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, may sound slow, trying to help change the world or make things better one person at a time, but it's kind
That's
of the
the
way you have to go.
reality.
It's kind of the way you
That's
have to do.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reality of the pace. Even if you're a coach in a group program, people are gonna show up and have a transformation in their own time and space, right? It's not like magical makeover, everybody gets the genie wink and is done at the same
Yeah.
time. Yeah, exactly, right?
If you're old enough, you know where that came from. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, that's so beautiful because this desire to have those conversations now became another platform of service. and gets you out there. And clearly there's a need. I mean, those are like, to me, that's a great metric on a monthly basis, and a consistent and a growing one to have. So there's a huge need for, or yearning for that out there. And as you connect to people across the planet, you can start to bring in more examples and relatable stories to serve within your community and help that group start to flourish too, right? So take us in a little bit about, how you started developing the White Sands self-care, and what you felt called to do there, and who you serve, and how you love it.
Well, I started out, and I morphed over to self-care because I had so many people telling me, "Oh, you would be such a beautiful self-care coach. You should do this, you should do that." And so I went following that. I thought, well, I've helped a lot of people. I've just never put a title on it or charged or whatever. And it's like, okay. And then, then you get people trying to teach you how to do high dollar offers or this. It just never really sat with me. Can I help people and guide them through? And am I happy to do that? Absolutely. I do, but I've always been a connector.
Yeah.
And what I realized is I've always been a connector, and I love to connect people
Hmm.
to others and be able to see them make those changes
Hmm.
and within themselves or within their environment and watch them grow. I mean, to me, that's really very fulfilling. And
Yeah.
so it went through multiple stages of stuff.
Sure.
So coaching and stuff's not necessarily off the table, but I'd kind of almost rather do like you and I were talking about sometime, is like doing an online
Hmm.
class or some kind of a thing together,
Hmm.
where we can help and support others. But then I have that community group that I run, and that's for people to post up what they've got going on, whether it's retreats, specials, what they do, because I want people to be able to connect and get that help.
Yeah.
And then I have the show. So that's, and I have multiple businesses that are all holistic health and wellness, but they
Uh-huh.
have to make sense to me. So,
Uh,
everything from you'll see the commercials on the show, the vibe, BAM motion and Club E-Fit, you name it. There's all stuff people can do. It just depends on what fits them.
there you go. So that's a beautiful way of bringing together variety in order for folks to find what they need to come through their transformation. And I do love a good collaboration because, one, it feels like it takes the pressure off me to be the only expert and constantly the leader, because there's some fatigue that comes with that, even if you self care, right? And people relying on you, and yet one more role to play, and that sort of thing. And then when we team up, there's greater reach, greater impact, and definitely greater magic co-creation that you
Mhm.
can develop and foster. And then you don't really know what's going to come of it, but it's going to be good because there's this give and receive happening, and you're responsible for your part, but you are sharing that load with others. So it's a beautiful partnership, right? And it makes things a lot more fun as well.
Yeah. And the important thing to remember is it's not a competition.
Oh,
We get that drilled so much into our head for business
yeah,
and business classes. What's
yeah,
the competition doing? What's it? I don't have competition. I am
yeah.
me. You're either going to resonate with me or you're not. I could work with, tons of other self care coaches. We all have a different perspective and we all bring that unique perspective to it. And
Mhm.
I think we could do a lot more if people would stop looking at it as like, oh, that's a competition. They're taking this away from me. No,
That's right.
we're adding value. You add value to it. I could be saying the same thing that maybe you're saying, but we have a different way of saying it. We have a different perception. We have a different way of coming about it. So
Mhm.
it really is collaboration. And when you can look at things that way, I, I don't want to be, nor could I ever be the expert in everything. No one can. There
Mhm.
are too many things out there. You want to run yourself into the ground. That is the
Yeah,
opposite of self care.
yeah.
But I love having a community of people where if I know someone is struggling with maybe some kind of traumatic childhood or PTSD or something, I've got a few people that I could say, well, you might want to have a conversation with this person. This one might be able to help you. They've
Yeah,
had the same similar issues, and I can connect people.
yeah.
That's not my area. I am not going to try and help somebody in something that I can't relate to.
But you can get them to the help.
I
And
can
then in
connect you to people
turn,
that can possibly help. Now, whether they relate or connect to them, that's a whole nother story. That's for them to decide.
that's right.
But yeah.
Yeah, and then that helps in building the self-care for you, for the
Mhm.
other partners, for the people looking for, and then a very supportive place where there isn't competition, there is just shared resources, like you're saying, right? So what are some of the fun things that have, developed as a result of the community that were, like, surprising or exciting or wonderful?
Well, and I've had some connections. Some didn't turn out not to work out, and some,
Yeah.
and some will. It just depends. And that's all. It's always a learning process. You
Mhm,
know,
mhm.
one of the things that we do with the TV show is we have a quarterly special, and we invite all the guests that we had on to come back and participate in that. Now, it's not the serious topic thing, like the one
Yeah.
we're going to have coming up is called Fun in the Sun. Because guess what? It's
Mm.
summertime.
Summer, yeah.
We're talking vacations, and we're talking
Mhm.
where's your favorite place to go.
Mhm.
Um, but you can really meet, just new and exciting people. And
Mhm.
sometimes that can open up to new partnerships, new affiliate links.
Yeah,
So yes, are you helping them? But yes, you're getting compensated for directing people,
yeah,
that way. Most of the ones, if I've got an affiliate link with it, I've got the product myself. I've used it myself.
yeah,
I don't just say, oh, here, try this. And I've something
right.
I've never even done myself.
Yeah,
It has to align, but it has to align and it has to make sense.
yeah.
It's not because you can get too many things, going. It's not something I don't advertise all the other stuff because I don't want there to be confusion for
Mhm.
people about what I intend to do. But on one-on-one conversations or something, I have a whole host of things to do.
Yeah.
I've been invited to a number of podcasts. So, that has been amazing. I met you through that
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
collaboration. And it's just funny sometimes how you connect because when you have one platform you're using, but then
mhm.
one blows you up on their platform and all of a sudden you got meetings come in and you can't find their background. I'm like, okay, hate to say this, but where did we meet? Because all of a sudden it's not there, you know. But it's cool because I always try to be prepared for meetings. But sometimes when these things pop up out of the blue, I don't know where they came from. I'm like, okay, all right, how do we meet? Because I'm not sure. I'm
Like the
always happy to meet them.
supernatural popcorn, and, what's great about that is you start building that momentum of drawing in the aligned folks, and what I love about what you just described in terms of affiliate or referrals that you have is you're choosing what's still right for you. So you're staying in alignment and staying in your empowered state for who you now are, and what you want to invest or be a part of, which then keeps your community in that alignment too, where you're leading that and attracting the right kind of people for yourself, for each other, and serving at a greater level, but one that again you can go to bed feeling really good about, right?
Yeah, well, for me, I work hard to, um, be that trustworthy source,
Mhm.
someone that people can trust and rely on and stuff. I'm not going to just throw up links to stuff that I have
Yeah,
no idea,
yeah,
who these people are. I haven't tried the product just to have a dollar come in.
yeah.
That doesn't sit well with me, and I just don't do that. But when it's products and stuff that I use and I know how much they care and they use, and that they're a decent, honest person, I have no problem, which is why I created the website that's kind of like a one-stop shop, just because there's just too many things to be popping up,
Yeah.
and putting up there. But yeah, like I said, I won't ever refer somebody to something that I haven't done or tried myself. And even if I have tried, maybe something was going well and maybe now something it wasn't. Yeah, I'd feel kind of obligated to kind of warn that person because, sometimes people are not always what they seem.
That's right. That's right.
So
And in that theme of self-care is knowing that it is gonna be, yeah, something that you can stand behind, like you said. So
yeah.
what ways have you evolved in the self-care in your life?
Yeah, I first of all, I can tell you a few things if you're ever going to go down this path is take some time to sit by yourself or with yourself and shut out all the other noise and figure out what truly lights you up and makes you happy inside. Could I go get a job, make more money, and do what I'm supposed to do? Yes, but it wouldn't make me happy.
Mhm.
So do that first. I mean, you can go down a lot of rabbit holes, and trust me, I've had my share of going down a lot of rabbit holes. But I do live my self-care. 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. is my time
Mhm.
to, and you may not have that much time. That's okay. Start with a few minutes, but I got it to that point where if I want to do some reading, play with a dog, do whatever I want to do, that's my time. My
Mhm.
calendar does not even open up until, and because I have it set for 30 minutes apart.
Yeah.
So they can't even
Yeah.
book until 10:30 in the morning
Yeah.
unless I book it in myself.
Right.
I don't do any more than 3 meetings on Monday and Tuesday.
Mhm.
Wednesday and Friday I record, and I
Mhm.
don't do any more than 2 recordings because otherwise you lose your voice, you lose your focus. So, and it gets stressful.
Yeah.
So I do 2 on those days. Thursdays are off because my fiance's off. And
Mhm.
Sundays, I generally don't work weekends. If I work weekends at all, it's something that I want to do on Saturday, or it's me catching up with something. Like we're going to record this Saturday, our special, our 2 hour special, but I'm
Yeah.
doing it while my fiance's at work. He gets home
Yeah.
halfway through the day,
Yeah.
because that's our time. And I don't go anything past 5 o'clock because I'm making dinner and that's my time for us. I will not pack stuff in appointment after appointment after appointment after appointment and stuff. That way I can respect other people's time.
Mhm.
I mean, and it's just so much calmer
Yeah.
when you can do
Spacious.
that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You got to kind of space it out
Yeah.
and figure things happen for a reason. Sometimes I get more time because sometimes people will, something comes up,
Yeah.
fine, reschedule. I don't get upset about it. It's life is too short to get all wound up about that. I just don't get upset about it anymore. I just move on. And when we can do it, we do it.
Yeah. That's beautiful that you've set some very clear boundaries and taking care of your needs first and putting the other things in, and then knowing still what your needs are as you're serving in your business, right? And not jamming it out. Like you say, you could do more and make more, but the expense of that isn't worth the more that you get from it.
It's not worth my health or the stress. You
Yeah.
get locked up in front of the computer,
Yeah.
and then you have pain, then you're going to physical therapy. I've
Yeah.
been there. I
Yeah.
don't do that.
Yeah.
So, when I get stuff, um, that has been like maybe taxing, I'll take the dog out and I just go out and breathe and I take a look at the trees, watch my squirrels, the birds, anything to just reset.
Reset, open up for spirit, for spaciousness, right?
Yep.
And connection
Yep.
outside.
You'll
Yeah.
actually get a lot more done if you can walk away and step away than sit there and keep banging your head saying, why is this not working? Because a lot of times if you step away and you come back, it's like, why did I make that so hard in the first
Yeah.
place?
Yeah. That's true. We tend to push in North American culture, there's this push, this hustle, but it doesn't actually achieve the results that we want. And one thing I've often found myself saying is by letting go, I can do more. By relaxing, I can do more because I have the energetic spaciousness. Listening to you describe that schedule, it was like melting like an ice cube in the hot sun. I'm like, oh, that sounds so good. And I found that in my so-called super busy life, I can drop into that even in the busy life and
Hmm.
bring that energy through. So that's real the mindset work and the deeper decision work around what do I want this day to be. And I notice if I start jamming up in the morning, I'm like, okay, dude, reset. Like Laura says, reset, check yourself. Do you want to keep feeding into this energy? Or do you want to come out and relax into this energy? And for those who have been listening, I mean, I'm talking about the good old get Georgia to school hustle every morning. The 5-year-old. It's like, well, I'm late anyway, so what's another minute or 3 at this point versus intensifying the constriction energy of what's happening, right? And
Oh, trust me, it didn't start that way.
it
When
didn't.
when I
Yeah.
started with the TV show, I was like, okay, I just put it up there and I just let 'em, and all of a sudden I was having 4, 5, 6 meetings, and then one would run into this one, and
Yeah,
I'm like, "Okay, I haven't had a chance to eat,
yeah,
barely go to the bathroom. My
yeah,
fiance is now coming home. I didn't even take anything out for dinner."
right.
And I'm just like, I'm exhausted. And then even if we are trying to do something joint, I just want to pass out and go to
Yeah.
sleep. And once we started getting them in, I'm like, okay, this has got to get cut way back. And then I made the mistake of 3 recordings in one day. Okay,
Mm,
my voice is now cracking.
yeah,
I'm losing my voice, losing my focus, which is not fair to that person that
yeah.
I have on the show. So I'm like, oh no, we need to, I just had to dial it back. And I'm like, makes my life a whole lot easier.
That's the spreading out, right, Laura? What words of wisdom? Like, I don't know about others. Well, clearly, because I mean, as unique as I am, there's multiple similarities of this scarcity of like, and the biggest lesson I've had in 2024 is that I'm not running out of time, that it is okay to spread things out, that, it doesn't all have to happen in a day, and that lets my nervous system drop down, and that lets again, my soul, my spirit kind of get to show up a bit stronger
Hmm.
and take over the mind body constant reaction mode, right?
Yeah.
The spreading it out, and then like you say, your capacity, your presence, which is where the power is, increases exponentially, and then you have more impact.
Yeah. I'm glad you found that. Some people don't. I've seen them just go, 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 go. I'm like, if I look at some people's calendars, I'm like, okay, that's exhausting.
Mhm.
That's exhausting for me to even look at. I was like, nope. I have found if you just kind of take your time, even if you think you might not have this, normally the right person finds their way to you, and it all works out.
Yeah.
Just gotta keep telling yourself it's all always worked out before. Just kind of have to let it work itself out, and it generally does.
Right? And that detachment is, an incredible piece of self-care in itself, right? Because then you're not in control. You are responsible for the actions that you take, and that's a big difference.
Yep.
Like, you can't stop the storm,
Nope,
right?
that's the
But
only
you
thing you
can.
can control. I was like, everybody thinks they can control this, control this. No,
Yeah.
you can control you and what you do, and that's it. You can't
Raincoat
control your
boots.
spouse, you can't control your friend, the weather,
Mm,
politics, you can't control any of that. And if you can't control it, you gotta let it go.
gotta let it go. Amazing. So where can we come follow you along and, work on our mindfulness expansion and our enjoyment? And if you want to speak about your freebie as well here on travel savings, please do so.
So I would love to invite anyone and everyone. You can go to facebook.com/groups/ White Sand Self Care to join my community. That's currently got about 249 people in there. So there's all kinds of people. We're growing that.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself, let people know what you do. I love building that. To follow the mindfulness, you can go to my YouTube channel. It's at Mindful Mondays with Laura Cross. Click subscribe, and you can catch up on any of the episodes there. You can also catch it on e360tv.com. There's just several networks on there. They're getting it where you can dial it up like Netflix, which will be really cool. But
Mm.
the easiest way would be the YouTube channel. And yeah, shoot me a message if there's ever something that you're struggling with that you need help, or maybe you want to see a certain type of speaker. I am always open to that. So just send it to me. And um, of course, I'm not always in control of who finds me,
That's
but
right.
I will do the best I can to get that covered or get you connected with someone that can help you.
I really love the work that you're doing and the heart that you bring to it, and how it's healed you, and allowed you to serve the world in a new version of yourself.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Laura. It's been a pleasure having you.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.